Hello and welcome to Grapple Games TV. This is Josh Vozard, and we've got another Friday Night Magic for you. Tonight we have Derrick George playing a green-black graveyard deck. John Donovan is playing a Jund Walker control deck. We see John lead off with the Temple of Malady and Derrick with the Overgrown Tomb. Temple of Malice comes in second for John, along with an Elvish Mystic. Derrick plays a Forest and passes turn. John lays down a Forest, taps 2 for Sylvan Caryatid, gets in there with the Elvish Mystic for 1. Derrick's at 19 life. At the end of John's turn, he's casting a Grizzly Salvage, reveals the top 5 cards, can get a creature or land. Looks like he hit 3 lands, a Whip, and a Night Howler. It looks like he was thinking about the Night Howler, but instead decides to go for the land. I think it was a Land of War Wastes. Using a die to keep track of the number of creatures in his graveyard, which is relevant for several creatures in his deck, Night Howler being one of them. Looks like Derrick lays down a Swamp and casts Elvish Mystic. Passes turn. Stomping Ground comes in. John pays 2 life to bring it in untapped and casts Nissa, Worldwaker. He'll most likely be making that land a 4/4 elemental with trample. Swings in for 4. Derrick takes it. Doesn't want to give up his Elvish Mystic, and he's down to 15. Cast another Grizzly Salvage at the end of John's turn. Hitting lots of creatures this time. Nemesis Immortal, Lawless Troll, Night Howler, Hornet Queen. And see what the first one was. I think it might have been another Night Howler. Going with the Lawless Troll. Everything else down into the graveyard. So it looks like you'll probably have about 4 or 5 creatures in his graveyard right now. Derrick casts Lawless Troll. And then plays a Land of War Wastes. So he does have mana available to regenerate the troll.
Is the store itself taking in any mind sculptors? From the vault parade? I know you don't have it. Potentially. It's in my commander deck. I don't play it. I bought it because I never really resolved one outside of Q. And even then, I think it was like very brief and not as enjoyable. So it
looked like John decided to tap the 2 lands for mana, then use Nissa's ability to untap them. So he had 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So Rakdos' turn for 5. Derrick's going to have to discard 5 cards and then take 5 damage. In response, Derrick is discarding 4 creatures to the Lawless Troll's ability to give him +1 counters. And then gets rid of the last card in his hand, which is a Overgrown Tomb. And then he takes 5 damage, bringing him down to 10 life. The Lawless Troll's now a 6/5. Derrick is now in top deck mode, so it looks like he did draw a spell. Taps 5 mana to bestow Herald of Torment onto his Lotless Troll. Gives it +3/+3 in flying. So 9/8 flying. He'll lose a life on his upkeep, but looks like he's getting in there for quite a bit of damage. Brings John down to 9. One more hit from that, and it'll be lethal. John brings in Blood Crypt. Does not shock it in. Uses Nissa to make another 4/4 elemental. Taps 2 mana for, looks like he had an Abrupt Decay in the sand. Dreadbore. So he Dreadbores a lot of the troll. Derrick is tapped out, so he can't regenerate. Herald of Torment falls off, and that gets Abrupt Decayed. And then John swings in with the 2 elementals, bringing Derrick down to 2 life. So John is tapped out. Derrick has 5 mana available. He's got 6 or 7. Not sure exactly how many creatures he has in the graveyard. So he taps 3 to play Night Howler. It gets +X equal to number of creatures in the graveyard. John has none. Looks like quite a few in Derrick's. He passes turn. Okay, so 11 creatures in the graveyard. Night Howler's 11/11. So John's just going to make another elemental and swing in for lethal. Yeah, looks like Derrick could have bestowed the Night Howler for 4 onto the Mystic and swung in for lethal. But we are moving on to game 2. Derrick leads off with the Overgrown Tomb. John plays the Temple of Malice. And we got a turn 2 Lotless Troll for Derrick. And John takes care of that quickly with an Abrupt Decay. No mana to regenerate. Alright, got the Satyr Wayfinder coming in for Derrick. Reveals the top 4 cards and gets a land from among them. So he's got looks like maybe 2 choices. He takes the Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth. And then plays down an Overgrown Tomb tapped. Temple Abandoned gives John a scry.
That would cover the tax on that.
He's deciding whether to keep that on top or put it on bottom. Keeps it on top.
I don't know, I have the internet. I'm guessing. I know one time when it first came out, it was kind of a count and then it dropped.
Alright, the Urborg comes out for Derrick. Makes all lands swamps in addition to other types. Gets in there for 1 with the Wayfinder and then cast Nyx Weaver. It's a 2/3 with reach, and at the beginning of your upkeep, you put the top 2 cards of your library into the graveyard, and then you can pay 3 and exile it to get a card back from your graveyard. John takes his turn and casts a Mystic and a Lifebane Zombie. Get to see Derrick's hand, and
This one is that's right at $90 right now.
I'm pretty sure that he exiled Gerard out of his hand.
That's a lot of that, man. You gotta think I was crazy.
So here Derrick is putting top 2 into his graveyard. Looks like he did get some creatures. Land more wastes for Derrick.
It's essentially the same value as the regular world. But the foil one, foil weight is 5/6. Foil weight.
Alright, so Derrick passes turn.
I imagine by its very definition, that would be a rare thing to see.
John brings in his Stomping Ground. Taps 2 for a Sylvan Caryatid. Swings in with the Lifebane Zombie. It does have Intimidate, so can only be blocked by... Looks like Derrick's trying to decide if he wants to block it with the Nyx Weaver. It is black, so it can block the Lifebane, although they both would die. So he decides to trade. He may have been contemplating to use the block and then use the Nyx Weaver's ability to get something back from his graveyard, but decided the trade would be more efficient. Getting rid of the Lifebane. So we've got a Night Howler bestowed on the Satyr Wayfinder. John responds with the Hero's Downfall. Night Howler falls off. Satyr goes to the graveyard, which actually just helps the Night Howler. Looks like there's 5 creatures in the graveyard, so Night Howler is a 5/5. And Derrick passes turn. John counting mana. He's got enough for the Garruk, Apex Predator. Garruk chops down the Night Howler, eats it, so John gets to gain some life. Back to Derrick's turn.
So, were you interested in
Alright, Derrick shocks in an Overgrown Tomb. 7 mana available to cast Hornet Queen. Flying 2/2 Death Touch. But it brings along some friends. 4/1/1 Flying Death Touch Wasps. Or hornets or bees or whatever they are. In this case, they are Lord of the Rings characters. We got Gimli and Saruman. Alright, John pluses up Garruk to make a 3/3 Death Touch Beast. John is using the Death Star to represent that. So we got Star Wars versus Lord of the Rings. John activates Mutavault, swings in with Mutavault and the Mystic. Putrefies the Hornet Queen, so it can't destroys it and can't be regenerated. It looks like Derrick just decides to take the 3 damage. And then John casts another Elvish Mystic. Alright, so we've got 3 of the Hornets heading towards Garuk, taking him out. And then with 5 mana, Derrick is going to cast Shadowborn Demon. He gets to destroy a non-demon. Takes care of that beast. And then an Elvish Mystic. Shadowborn, you also have to sack a creature if you don't have, I think it's 6 creatures in your graveyard, which Derrick should be fine. John plays out a Courser. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, so Derrick's got enough creatures in the graveyard. He doesn't have to sack anything to the Shadowborn Demon. Got 4 mana for the Whip of Erebos. Gives everything a lifelink. Then Derrick swings in with 8 flying. Brings Derrick down, or John down to 16. Derrick up to 23. Kept one of the Death Touch flyers back for defense. Looks like he is activating the whip to bring back the Hornet Queen, just to get more flying Death Touchers. So we got a whole ensemble of Lord of the Ring characters. John brings out a Sylvan Caryatid. And passes turn. Looks like they're checking to for the Shadowborn Demon. Or perhaps Derrick's trying to find which creature he would like to whip back.
It is appropriate. It's just really funny. He's doing the actual difficulty challenge.
Everything comes in 50.
True. 50 or 80.
All right, so looks like Derrick is swinging in with everything. We've got 8 and 5, so 13, bringing John down to 3 life. Derrick up to 36. And yeah, not quite anything John can do about that, short of a board wipe. Yeah, but even then, Derrick could just whip back in Shadowborn Demon. So, all right, so we're on to game 3, tied 1-1. All right, got a land from both sides. Derrick brings in his Elvish Mystic. Stomping Ground comes in tap for John. Urborg for Derrick. Brings out Lotleth Troll. This time he's got mana up to regenerate him. 3 mana for the Courser of Krufix for John. Reveals the top card. It's Hero's Downfall. Passing turn. Alright, Derrick plays a Forest. Looks like he is tapping to Abrupt Decay the Courser. and then pitches the Shadowborn Demon to Lawless Troll, puts a counter on it, and then swings in for 3. John's down to 17. Alright, John untaps, plays Llanowar Wastes. Taps 3 for Underworld Connections. And passes turn. Alright, got 4 mana for Derrick to bring out the Whip of Erebos. Swing it in again for 3 with the Lawless Troll. John's down to 14. Derrick goes up to 23. Derrick is going to pay a life and draw a card. John cast the Lifebane Zombie. In response, Derrick pitches the Lawless Troll he had in his hand to the Lawless Troll, and then reveals that he had just a swamp. And then plays a Stomping Ground. Alright, so Derrick is activating the whip, whipping back the Shadowborn Demon, hits the Lifebane Zombie. Zombie is destroyed, and then Derrick swings in 5, 9, 10 damage. John is down to 3 life, and Derrick is up to 33. Shadowborn Demon is in exile now. John plays his Urborg. We got 3 mana for Hero's Downfall on the Troll. Derrick regenerates. In response, John plays a second Hero's Downfall. That does destroy it. Unfortunately, yeah, Derrick can just whip back anything and get in for lethal. Alright, so we had some really interesting matches. The second match was great with all the Hornet Queens and Flying Death Touch Gimlis. But hope you guys liked the match. If you like it, give us a thumbs up, share the video, and leave your comments down below. We'll see you next time. Grapple Games TV. Thanks a lot.